Hey everybody, I'm here with Reagen with Galveston County EMS, and you know, this week's EMS week, and so we're going to talk to her. She's one of the newer paramedics that we have here. Reagen, thanks for joining us this morning. You've been here a little over a year.
Yes, sir.
And what do you think about it?
I love it. It's an amazing place to work so far.
You've got a hell of a background though. Tell us about your background, where you were for 7 years.
I was in the United States Navy for about 7 years as an aviation machinist mate. I was stationed in Point Mugu, California for 4, and then up in Washington State for 3. And then I headed down here and back to Texas when I got out.
And you're from Texas?
Yes, sir.
So you came home as quick as you could get here?
Yes, sir.
Tell us a little bit about how you got into paramedics. You said you were a volunteer and you got some certs, and when you came back, then you added to it. So give us a rundown on your timeline on what you did when.
Yes, sir. So I was still active duty. Whenever I was volunteering for a fire department up in Washington, I got my EMT basic, and I was nearing the end of my contract. So once I got out, I hopped straight into school over at Galveston College, and I went through advanced EMT and then straight through paramedic, and then I did this job.
Okay, so this is the only EMT job that you had?
Yes, sir.
Where do you live in Galveston or Houston?
I actually live in Spring right now.
Spring?
Yes,
boy, that's a heck of a drive. But what kind of shifts do y'all run when you're down here?
We do a set 48 shifts, so 2 days a week plus any type of overtime that we want to pick up.
Okay.
Or special events like Jeep Weekend and other things like that.
It's like a big family here, isn't it?
Absolutely. That's what I love about it so much. It reminds me a lot of the military, actually.
Is it? And I know when I came in the other day and we did the feed with Doug was talking about Reagen and her background and everything, and everyone's got a lot of respect for everyone here. Tell us about your training though. I've walked through here before, and it seems like y'all always have something going on.
We do. So at the beginning of each shift, all the trucks get together for our morning meeting, and we'll usually go over, a couple protocols, and sometimes we'll pull out the equipment and get our hands on. Especially when summer comes, we'll train more on trauma and other things like that, things that we might run into.
What kind of calls do you see when you're down here? You know, the wintertime's sort of quiet down here. You've been through that, you've been through summertime. What are most of the calls, or a lot of the calls? Is it on the beach, jellyfish? Is it heart attack? Is it vehicle accidents?
So more so during the winter time, we see a lot of the difficulty breathing calls and respiratory calls, as well as just other sick calls. When summertime hits, it's a lot more beach life, more trauma, people out on the beach,
Right.
doing crazy stuff, jellyfish stings, stingrays, and other stuff like that.
Stuff like that. You have a pretty good run. When something happens here, and I used y'all here back in March, we have to go across the ferry. How does that play a difference from if you were in Houston? And I know you haven't worked here, but I know you've heard stories. What's the big difference whenever we have a 30-minute run to the hospital versus in Houston where they don't have long runs like that?
So I have spoken with a lot of the other coworkers who have worked in different services, and we have very aggressive protocols that allow us to do a lot more for the longer transports. It also comes in, you really have to think about your critical thinking skills and whether or not you can take care of this patient for that long of a transport, or if you need to call PHI or air support to come out.
Right. And Doug was talking about that y'all do a lot of air transport just because of the time frame getting across. Well, Reagen, thanks for joining us this morning. Thanks for everything you do, and thank you for your service in the military too. We're going to head on out. We'll be back a little bit later on with more information and probably get in on one of their training sessions. Until next time, I'm David with Bolivar Live. Y'all have a great day, great week. Come see us. God bless, and bye-bye.